one of the best things you can do for yourself is something hard. Something very difficult, something that's strenuous, uncomfortable, that makes you just kind of, your heartbeat just starts going crazy. It's one of the best things you can do for yourself. Why? Because you're only as strong and resilient as the things that you've been through. And I believe in self-care. I believe in harmony. I believe in not exploiting people or being exploited or used. But I also believe that sometimes you just have to get tough. And leaders have to be tough. And that's not something that someone's just born with. It comes from the abilities to endure, pushing yourself to the limit, figuring out what that last thing is. And I've done it on so many occasions to where now I don't question whether or not I can make it through to the other side because I know. And what that does is it makes you run towards things that are seemingly risky. You're not afraid to get involved when there's a problem. You're not afraid of having the tough conversation. You're not afraid of making the tough decision. You know, like, hey, I got to fire this person. Hey, maybe this relationship isn't the best for me. Maybe whatever it is, you're not afraid to do it. Why? Because you stormed the weather and you know that you can make it through to the other side. And with that being said, we cannot be afraid to push our people as well. Because if you don't push people and you don't put them in a position where they've got to go through something and they got to get uncomfortable and they got to be a little stressed and they got to figure some things out, you're doing them a disservice. Why? Because they're going to end up being weak sauce. No seasoning, no nothing. Didn't have any smoke to it. It wasn't smoked. It wasn't anything. It's just some weak sauce. And what's happening is we're developing a generation of leaders who are softer than medicated cotton. And I'm not saying they've got to go and be baby boomers. But what I'm saying is we can't go so far and run so far away from what happened with certain generations that we bring it all the way to the other side where we're developing kids who have and developing people who have no mental fortitude. None. They have no mental fortitude. And that's something that we can definitely avoid. But you got to be willing to put people through it. They have to go through the gauntlet. They have to. You have to allow them to make the decision. You have to allow them to fall. You have to allow them. Hey, sometimes they got to fire someone. They've got to go through whatever is necessary to make sure that they are emotionally and mentally prepared to take on tomorrow's problems. Because we have people that have all the education in the world, but they are softer than medicated cotton and they break down the moment they get a bit of adversity, and it's just not going to cut it. Things aren't getting less competitive. They're getting more competitive, more challenging. You know, you have to be more resilient, more creative. And those attributes and character traits aren't coming out because we're not putting people in the position to where they've got to use those levers. They are pull those levers, use those skills. So just think about that every day. What am I creating? Am I creating, you know, a little Play-Doh boy or girl or whatever? Or am I creating a leader? And if you're creating a leader, guess what? They got to go through some things. And that's okay.